So we have to always foster these types of relationships. I couldn't
Okay. Afternoon, everyone. Delegate Roberts, can you yourself? There we go. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a meeting of the Revenues Subcommittee of Ways and Means. We have a number of bills to take up today. So members, I am going to try to keep things moving relatively quickly, but if at any point you have questions, please do not hesitate to speak up and slow us down if we need to clarify anything as we're going. Okay, first up, we have House Bill 100. This is the inheritance tax rate for beneficiaries of limited means. We discussed this bill previously, discussed a few potential changes. You have a reprint that that George prepared for us. This limits it only to properties that the beneficiary is already living in or already maintaining as agricultural property. And instead of offering a reduced rate, it requires the Register of Wills to approve a payment plan if paying the full tax due would require sale of the property. So this is something that the Registers of Wills already have can enter into payment plans. This would just say that they shall, under these conditions, allow for a payment plan. Any questions or discussion? Delegate Polakovich-Carr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for hearing the feedback from the last subcommittee meeting on this. I'm supportive of the bill with these amendments.
Wonderful. Is there a motion on the amendment? Oh, Delegate Buckle, were you just unmuted? Okay.
I just unmuted.
Okay. Is there a motion on the amendments?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay. All in favor of the amendments, please raise your hand or say aye.
Aye.
All right. Anyone opposed to the amendments? No. Okay, then on the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Move favorable.
All right. Is there a second? Okay, great. So it has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion or questions? Delegate Young?
Just wanted to echo what JPC said, which is that the bill is a lot better, and I just appreciate the leadership to get it where it is. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Okay, well, with that, all in favor, please raise your hand. All right, any opposed? Okay. Good, we're cruising. House Bill 454. So this bill we actually had taken up previously and voted on. We do need to revisit it. So part of the amendment that we adopted previously, although the spirit of the amendment was acceptable, there were some concerns from the comptroller's office with the wording. And this was, we had the provision about even if a third party was used in auditing services, that the assessment could only be made by the comptroller's office. So then when we discussed rewording that, we went back to the CPAs who were the ones who originally raised the concern we were trying to address. And after some additional conversation, they actually decided their preference was to take that language out completely. So that's what is reflected in the revised reprint that you have. So any conversation or questions about that? Delegate Buckle.
I just had a question of, I recall that both the CPA group and the Chamber of Commerce had a philosophical objection that I think some folks shared. I shared about incentivizing audits through contingency fee provisions. I've talked to Comptroller Learman. I understand why she wants to do it. It's a budgeting mechanism as much as a policy decision. But when you say that the CPA folks said take the language out, does that mean that the bill now looks exactly as it did as presented?
So not exactly as it did, because there were still some other changes that were made. But remember, we had not taken up the contingency issue, right?
Mhm.
What we had, the provision that we had included, which is now removed, was around, and I don't know, George, if you have the actual language handy. I could look through the bill file, try to find it, but it was the provision that the assessment had to be made by the comptroller's office, even if a third party was involved in auditing, right? That requirement already is in existing statute, right? That only the comptroller's office can actually make the assessment. So there were some concerns about the wording that we had used, but then when we had another round of discussions, the CPAs their preference was to leave that provision out, because I think because it is already addressed in existing statute, it didn't really add anything.
Okay, so the bill essentially, though, is still allowing the third-party auditors to conduct the audits, to turn the information over to the comptroller's office and say, we think that taxpayer entity X may likely owe income of Y, or at least will they be doing the audit, or will they simply be indicating this is a taxpayer entity we think you should schedule for audit?
I believe, and George, correct me if I'm wrong, but the bill would authorize either of those. Right, so the comptroller could contract with someone simply to generate leads of folks suggested for an audit, or they could contract with a third party to conduct an audit. But that audit would have to be reviewed by the comptroller's office before an assessment could be made.
Sure. That's the differentiation between saying, I think taxpayer entity X may owe you some money, you should look into it, versus saying, I've done the homework. I think they owe you $75,000, and now you have to check my homework before you can send out the assessment for $75,000.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Sure. Any other questions or discussion? All right. Is there a motion on the amendments?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendments, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Okay, on the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion or questions? All right, all those in favor of House Bill 454 as amended, please raise your hand. And any opposed? Okay. House Bill 454 as amended passes. All right, House Bill 455. This is the comptroller's bill regarding electronic filing. And it does have amendments. Mainly, Stan, please feel free to jump in and correct me, but it's mainly around the effective date and when the different types of returns, when the requirements for electronic filing of different types of documents kick in. And then there's also an amendment to say that a tax preparer cannot charge an additional fee for electronic filing. So as we're shifting to electronic filing being required, we don't think there should be an additional fee for that. Any questions or discussion? Yes, Justin, did you want to?
Hi, good afternoon. Just would appreciate the opportunity to discuss these amendments before this bill moves forward offline. I think we have some drafting concerns that we'd like to discuss at length with the chair and committee staff, if that's possible.
Okay, we will hold House Bill 455.
Thanks.
Okay. Moving on to House Bill 490. This is the subtraction modification, excuse me, for donations to diaper banks. And the bill as filed removed the sunset completely. It has an amendment to, instead of removing the sunset, extend it for 3 years. So is there a motion on the amendment?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. All right. And now on the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Move
Oh.
favorable. Oh, I'm sorry. Julia's question.
Delegate Block-Vichkar.
Not a question. If I can just take a moment, Madam Chair, I'm going to sound like a dinosaur on this committee, but just to say, I'm glad that we are keeping up the tradition that's been going on for several years in the Revenue Subcommittee, as you know, as Delegate Buckle knows, of having sunsets on tax credits and on tax provisions, just as a chance for the legislature to continue to check back in to make sure this is still how we want to be directing revenues to in the future. So very appreciative of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So then on the bill as amended, we have a motion.
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions or additional discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, wonderful. Any opposed? All right. Okay, so House Bill 490 as amended is moving forward favorable. Okay. House Bill 507. This is for Allegheny and Garrett counties, the property and income tax credit for construction and purchase of housing. It does have an amendment, and the amendment basically makes it enabling for the local jurisdictions. Delegate Buckle, I know it's your bill. I don't know if you want to say anything else about it.
No, I appreciate the committee, moving it in the spirit of it, and it's a good first step, and we'll have to work with our local counties to encourage. We have a dearth of new housing starts because of a variety of factors, and one of them is just increased costs, as I've explained on numerous occasions. Won't belabor that, but hopefully this is, if it can be passed and enacted, is a step in the right direction. And then, if it works, maybe we'll come back for some additional clarifications, but I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion on the amendments?
Move favorable.
Second.
All right, that's been moved and seconded. On the amendments, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, any opposed? Okay, the amendments are adopted. On the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions or additional discussion on House Bill 507 as amended? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? All right. So House Bill 507 is favorable with amendment. All right, next we are on House Bill 582. This is the Pavel Lepere Legacy of Innovation Act. And we do have an amendment. The amendment limits eligibility to only student-founded entities. The bill is drafted, had student or faculty. So we're limiting it to student founded startups. And it also alters the fee that an institution of higher ed pays to participate. Any questions or discussion on the amendment?
Madam Chair, just to
Yes.
clarify, that restriction is regarding student only is specific to the first program under the bill. The second program, the Baltimore Innovation Initiative Pilot Program, is open to both student and
okay.
faculty startups.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Any questions, discussion? Okay, all those in favor? I guess we need a motion on the amendment?
Move favorable on the amendments.
Second.
Okay, all in favor of the amendments, please raise your hand. Opposed? Okay. All right, on the bill as amended, is there a motion?
Move favorable.
Favorable. Second.
Any additional discussion or questions? Okay, and on the bill as amended, all in favor, please raise your hand. Wonderful. House Bill 582 is moving forward, favorable with amendment. All right, House Bill 744. This is the Biotechnology Investment Incentive Tax Credit Program. And we do have amendments that authorize the allocation of the tax credit among the partners, members, or shareholders of a business entity to be in any manner agreed to by those persons in writing. So this is not changing the tax credit itself, but simply dealing with how it is allocated. Any discussion or questions? Okay, is there a motion on the amendment?
Move favorable.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor of the amendments, please raise your hand. Wonderful. Now on the bill as amended, any additional? Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any additional questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? No? Okay. House Bill 744 moves forward, favorable with amendment. House Bill 787, Allegheny Regional Recreational Economic Development Authority. There are no amendments. Are there any questions or discussion about the bill? Are there any motions on the bill?
Move favorable.
Second.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Wonderful. House Bill 787 is moving forward, favorable. Next up, House Bill 845. This is the individual income tax credit eligibility awareness campaign that the Comptroller's Office is proposing. And there is an amendment. The amendment simply limits the mandated appropriation for fiscal years 2026 through 2030. So it's just giving it a shorter range. Any discussion or questions? Is there a motion on the amendment?
Move favorable.
the
on
amendment.
amendments.
4 second.
All right. And so the amendment's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Wonderful. On the bill as amended. Any
Favorable.
questions, discussion, or motions?
Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, on the bill as amended, all those in favor, please raise your hand. All right, any opposed? I think we got everyone. Okay, House Bill 845 is moving forward, favorable with amendment. All right, and our final bill for today, House Bill 1281. This is the tourism zones designation. There is an amendment to clarify that the admissions and amusement tax exemption that entities can apply for under this bill is only the county admission and amusement tax. So any questions or discussion on that?
My recollection is that there's just one, like a particular entity or activity that has that admission and amusement tax that reverts directly to the state. Is that correct?
Yes.
I
it's
believe that is
relating to
correct.
Commercial bingo.
Right. Right. Move the amendments. Move favorable.
Second.
Okay, the amendment has been moved and seconded. Any questions? All right, all those in favor of the amendment, please raise your hand. Wonderful. Now on the bill as amended.
Move favorable.
Other than the obvious sponsor problem, could we change the sponsor maybe?
That says the person that had 2 Allegheny County bills today.
My sponsors are good, buddy. You got to look at who's sponsoring it. I'm just kidding. Move favorable. Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, any opposed? I think we got everyone. Okay. Wonderful. House Bill 1281 is moving forward, favorable with amendment. Thank you, Subcommittee, for plowing through a pretty long list. We will most likely, stay tuned, we will most likely be needing to meet again on Friday afternoon. I know that is everyone's favorite time to meet, so I'm sorry about that. But we do have a lot of work to do, and with crossover approaching, we've got to get some additional meeting time as we work through remaining bills. So stay tuned for details, but just tentatively looking at Friday afternoon. Okay.